Alright, hello good people. Welcome back to another math video. This one by request. I had a couple students ask to see a couple topics in preparation for the 10-week test. So here we go. The first one was about doubling or tripling a fractional amount. So if we had a fractional amount like 2 1/4, and we might see this a lot in a recipe, like you need 2 1/4 cups of flour, and you're going to double the batch. There's a few different ways to handle this, so I'll show a couple examples. One was, we know that this whole number is a whole 2, and then this is the fractional amount. So I could double the whole 2 first, and I could say, well, 2 and another 2 is 4. So I have 4, and then I'm going to double the fraction kind of by itself. So 1/4 and another 1/4 is 2/4. And I know that I could reduce that to be 1/2. And then I'll combine these two amounts and I'll say, well, it's 4 and 1/2. So that's one way to do it. Let's see. Another way to do it is I could take this 2 1/4 and I could turn that into an improper fraction. So I could say 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. So I have 9/4. And I'm going to double that, which means I'm going to do it 2 times. So I'm going to multiply it by 2. I'll do my 2 over 1. And this will equal 18/4. And 4 would go into 18 4 times with 2/4 left over. And I know I can reduce that to 4 1/2. Alright, so there's two different ways to see that. Now, if I was going to be tripling, I would do exactly the same process, only I would do it 3 times. So if I was adding that fraction, I would add it 3 times. If I was multiplying it, I would multiply it by 3. So here I'll do this and we'll do it 3 times. Remember, as an improper fraction, that was 9/4. And I'm going to triple the recipe. So I'm going to multiply it 3 times. So this now is 9 times 3 is 27/4. And let's see, 4 would go into 27 6 times, which would be 24, so I'd have 3 left over. So here it is doubled, here it is tripled, two different ways. Another piece that a student raised a question about was comparing decimals, fractions, and percents. We talked about this in class, and we said that really we need to pick kind of one way to represent these numbers. So if I put some numbers down here, 4/5, 82%, 8/100, and maybe 8.5%. And I want to compare these, and we're going to put these in an order. Let's say least to greatest. Well, I have fractions, I have decimals, I have percents. So we want to work in one style. We did talk about in class that maybe percents might be the easiest. So this one's already in a percent, and this is already in a percent. So now I need to do these other two. So to go from a decimal to a percent, we just move the decimal point 2 places. And then, so this would be 8% after I move that decimal point 2 places. Now over here I have a fraction, so I need a decimal first. Top dog in the house. If I divide 4 by 5, I will end up with 0.8. And if I want to turn this into a percent, I'd have to move my decimal point 2 places. So this would be 80, because again, to do that 2 places, I'd need a placeholder there, my 0, 80%. So now they're all percents. Now I can order them. What did we say? Least? Alright, so least, I have 8%, 8.5%. So 8%, 8.5%. Then I had 80%. And lastly, 82%. And then if I was going to, I'm just making a little room here, if I was going to order these kind of as the original problem, let's see, what was my 8%? That was this decimal, so that was 0.08. My 8.5%, that was already there. My 80%, that came from my fraction. And my 82%, they gave us that percentage. Alright, so there's two different ways to see that. Some students also brought a little blast from the past here, keep change change. We use keep change change when we are subtracting integers. So in my first one I have -2 minus 22. And we're going to evaluate this expression. So I'm going to keep the -2, change the positive to a negative, and change this positive 22 to a negative 22. So now I'm adding integers, which is usually a little easier. These signs are the same, so I'm going to keep my negative sign. -2 plus -22 is -24. Here's a different one. 5 minus -6. I'll keep my 5, change my minus to a plus, and change my negative to a positive 6, or just a regular 6, however it's easier for you to think about it. So really, I have 5 plus 6, and 5 plus 6 is 11. Alright, that was it. Just doing a couple requests. Stay after with me or Miss Guestwick, study up, and we'll see you soon.